Hey everybody, welcome back to the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. I'm your host, Gordo Gambles. Welcome back to the full card breakdown. This time for UFC London, we have ourselves 13 fights, all in the morning here in America, all headlined by Leon Edwards and Sean Brady. Now, I know I said last week we'd do it, get it back to normal. I tried. I need to fix some things. Hopefully next week or next fights, they should be back to normal. But quick thoughts, once again, if you have any more questions or concerns, please leave them in the comment section down below, as well as checking out my premium content on Establish the Run, where I just did a full breakdown there with Brett Appley, as well as my best bets, where you can check out CoolBet using code Gordo. With all out of the way, let's talk some fights. Make sure we get the audio okay. Oh, it is working great. Like I said, 13 fights on tap. Let's see how quickly I can break them down. Starting off with Guram Kutateladze versus Kaue Fernandez. I at first thought Fernandez might be live here as underdog. I don't know what I remember from Guram more than he was choking fights against Elvis Brenner, but still a very, very talented striker who has mixed in grappling recently. And that's probably going to work here against Fernandez, a guy who can throw wild, but a guy who cannot defend takedowns very, very well. A guy who is probably still outmatched in the feet by someone as technically sound as Guram Kutateladze. And yes, he lost some close fights, but Ismagulov and then he choked a fight against Brenner that he was winning there. I do think that he should win this fight at a pretty solid clip. I do think he is someone who could probably mix in takedowns at will, even at range, dictate the range, be the better technical striker, and land on Fernandez. I do think he's able to win this fight by decision more times than not, and in doing so, is more of a contrarian play on DraftKings, grappling upside, but a guy who probably doesn't get a finish all too often, and there are probably better options around him to score well. Kaue Fernandez, I guess that's not good equity. We've seen Guram drop a couple times, but that's really it. It's more on a Hail Mary. Fletcher versus Loughran is another fun fight. They have fought in the amateur scene and made for a pretty interesting bout, but two guys who I do think are fighting now and want to bring different styles here, and the same styles towards the cage here. They both want to go out there and wrestle at a high clip. I think that Fletcher, in doing so, maybe is the better pure grappler of the two, but I think maybe lacks the same physicality and lacks the same versatility. Doesn't have the same striking that someone like Loughran does, and I do think that Loughran is able to go forward, able to land more shots, and is probably just being hated on because he dropped a fight he should have won to Jake Hadley last time. I think if they do get entangled in some grappling exchanges, it's pretty close. Loughran might be the more physical guy, and on the feet, I do think he's able to win the optics of the striking. We're taking the dog here in Kale Loughran. DraftKings-wise, I think it could be a slower paced fight. Not my favorite one. There's plenty of fights I do want to target. I will be playing some Loughran because I'm picking him to win outright as underdog, but not my favorite fight on the card. Shout out to my boy Jelly hanging out in the chat. We appreciate you. Again, breaking them down, check out Establish the Run and everything else for my paid content there. Sean Abana versus Pooja Tamar. I was able to mention that comment because I don't want to talk about this fight too much. This fight is not one that's really high of a level here. Pooja Tamar, I don't think she's that good, but neither is Sean Abana. I think Sean Abana probably has the grappling edge if she decides to go there, but more times than not, it is a 15-minute striking affair between two fighters who aren't that good. So it could go either way. I picked Sean Abana because I do think there is grappling opportunities. Pooja Tamar is that bad on the ground, but I wouldn't be surprised to see either fighter drop the ball here because of that contrarian play on DraftKings for sure, but not a fight I want to get it too often. Prefer more so the Bana side of anything. Pulia versus Christian Lerodunkin is another interesting one because Christian Lerodunkin, when he gets to step down in competition, destroys people. Ton of KO power, very patient, very good technique in doing so as well. And we know he can go out there and shoot takedowns and do cage control. And that makes it for a fighter who should be favored to this spot because I do think he's getting a step down. You know, when he's facing the Tululins of the world, the oh my God, I'm forgetting his name. Todorovic of the world. He's able to knock them out and do pretty violent things to them. And that's kind of the mold that Pulev fits. Pulev, I don't think is horrible, but he doesn't really pass the visual test. He is someone who is there to be hit. And I do think that although he may have some activity, Christian Lerodunkin is going to land the bigger shots, has fought the better level of competition, and is probably going to light the crowd on fire if he's able to get a knockout win here. Although that all plays together, though, he is so boomer bust on DraftKings. 9.6K for someone who is just K1 or round one or bust, not someone who I don't want to have too much equity in because he could very much stall this out to round two and is very boomer bust. If you can afford him, if you have the dogs you like, go up and get him. I think he wins this fight at a high clip. Just very, very boomer bust. I did pick him to win, though. Chris also saying that Pooja was recently injured. Sure, I'll take Bannon for that. I think our sub's at a very decent price right now, actually. I can check. Why not? That would be more so a sprinkle, you know. More times than not, it is going to be a 15-minute striking affair. I do not doubt that. But Bannon's plus 1,600 on Bodog. Maybe I'll sprinkle some of that if she is injured because on the mat, she does not have that much to offer. But I don't know why I'm wasting so much time on that fight. Not a good one. Then we have Tybura versus Parkin. I think this was a fun fight here. Parkin is not as tested too much, being the hometown guy, younger fighter, but someone who is not really excelled too much. We still have some questions to be answered. How's his cardio? How's his ground game? How's he fare when he's facing a better level of competition? Because Kyle Machado, Usman, it doesn't really fit that bill. And Tybor's a guy who is able to handle this step down in competition. When he goes up, he fights the best. He can be KO'd, but other than that, solid minute winner on the feet, very good wet blanket with good takedowns, and he will answer some questions for someone like Parkin. I think Parkin may have KO potential if he's able to land the chin of Tybura, but I think it's a step down for Tybura. And I think that he's able to go out there, utilize the clinch, utilize the ground game, land on top of him, and probably even keep it close in the striking as well for someone in Parkin who is so low volume. So I think that I'm going to pick Tybura here, and in doing so is a solid play on DraftKings because he does have a grappling path to victory to getting it done. Then we have Loner Kavanaugh, Felipe Dos Santos. I love Kavanaugh. I really do. Great in and out movement, great power, still young and improving, solid grounding if he wants to as well. And he doesn't offer the same aggression or volume that Felipe Dos Santos does, but he's going to have way better technicality, and he should win this fight at a very, very high clip. The issue is in doing so, does he have the knockout ability or grappling ability to score well on DraftKings? Because if not, 50 points last time in a win, sure, Felipe Dos Santos is going to go forward and allow Loner to land those shots, but Loner is capable and okay with fighting from range and winning optics that way as well. So I think more times than not, Kavanaugh wins this fight. I'm pretty confident in me saying he will do so. It's just, is he going to go out there and match the volume of Felipe Dos Santos? Is he going to knock him out? I'm not sure for that reason. Not a fight I want to target too much on DraftKings. Then we have Jai Harbert, Chris Padilla. Pretty fun fight. I've not really gotten Taco right too often. Padilla is someone a fighter I haven't really been able to break down as well because he's a very opportunistic finisher. You got to give him that. But he's not the best defensively. He's not the best minute winner. He has the holes in his game, and I do think that Jai Harbert has not only fought the better level of competition, but also able to win more minutes on the feet. With that being said, though, like I said, Padilla, a better opportunistic grappler, and Herbert's there to be hit. I think the better submission grappler, better wrestler is Padilla, and the guy with probably more knockout upside is also Padilla on the weaker chin of Herbert. So it really leaves me to be either Padilla by finish or Herbert by decision. I flip-flopped all the time, but for DraftKings and entertainment purposes, give me the fit person with more finish upside, give me Chris Padilla. Although I'm not very confident. I can very much see Jai Herbert go out there, outpoint him, striking from distance towards a decision. Either way, should be an interesting fight. And on DraftKings, I prefer the Padilla side just because I do think he has more finish equity. I can see Herbert going out there landing a 70-point decision, where if Padilla wins, probably with ground success, maybe a knockout on the feet with the questionable chin of Herbert, probably scoring very, very well in the process. Prefer the dog in doing so. Yeah, Parkin and Aspinall did train together. So did Maurice Green and John Jones. It does not always translate, but that's true. He is able to go out there and replicate the style that Aspinall was able to fight Tybura with. I don't know if he's able to answer the questions that I do have about him. And then we have Nathaniel Wood against Morgan Shakia. Fun fight here. I do think it is a very close line one for good reason. Nathaniel Wood's probably the more well-rounded fighter, more tools, more volume, more entertainment, but a guy who can be hit. You look at a guy Morgan Shakia is more the technician, right? He has solid takedown defense, very good counter striking, very good power on the feet, and he is able to make a lot of reads and be a good technical striker. He just fights so close. He has lost 9 fights by decision, 5 of them, I believe, by split. A guy who just loses optics a lot of the time there, and it's very interesting to see him go out there and fight so close when he typically should be separating himself against lower fighters. Nathaniel Wood's probably going to have the grappling advantage, but it is not easy to take down Shakia. And from range, Shakia can dictate where the fight takes place, manage that range better, and probably land the more powerful shots, and probably have more finish upside with the power and the durability to do so. On the Wood side of things, I did pick Morgan Shakia, but it is questionable. Because of that, I think that Shakia could have knockout upside. But aside from that, he's very boomer bust at his price tag on DraftKings. Nathaniel Wood at least has grappling equity, not a guy I'm targeting there. But again, not my favorite fight in the card. I actually prefer this next one quite too much. Yes, you're right. Tybura style is known. I meant more so in the training perspective. A lot of people being like, oh, he's training partners with Aspinall. He must be good. Not always, and that doesn't always translate. But yes, I do understand that he should have a style that he's been able to emulate in the gym and able to prepare for. Just a big step up. So we'll see how it goes. Not super confident either way, but I'm still sticking with Tybura here. This Vucenic Duncan fight's really fun. I'm huge on the epidemic here in Vucenic. Really fun fight. I'm in a UFC fantasy league, if that tells you the level of degeneracy I do have. And I picked Vucenic early. A fighter I am looking forward to watching. I think he fits a lot of the talent here. He's pretty good. I mean, going out there and your losses to Shakia and Paul Hughes, really fits the bill. I do think he's able to do some good things here. Got some cool tattoos, but also a pretty good fighter. Very well-rounded, solid ground game. Very good down the feet and good volume and power as well. Knocked down Kutalotz last time. I think this guy is the real deal. I'm also a Chris Duncan hater, so keep that in mind when I'm breaking down this fight because I don't think he's that good. Very good opportunistic fighter as well. Ton of power and apparently a good guillotine too, but not the best minute winner. Can be taken down a spin of the mat. Not the best pure grappler, although he is improving, and his chin is definitely a weakness. So in this spot here, sure, Duncan has KO power. Sure, Duncan can land the big shot on Vucenic, but aside from that, Vucenic has a better ground game, better minute winning ability, probably the better durability and more knock upside. And I do think Vucenic grabs a takedown and looks to hunt a good finish there. In doing so, of my favorite DraftKings option of the card. I think Vucenic really high grappling success and a really high ceiling favorite play for me. I do think Vucenic gets it done. I'll be under in the spot here for sure. I think it's a great fight, and I think it's Vucenic just to lose. Then we have McCann and Thainara, and this is an issue I have been having because, man, you look back a couple of years ago, and the tape that Thainara was putting out there, McCann would destroy. And sure, hard to live in the past, and I do acknowledge that Thainara is making these improvements, and that's something I just have to improve in my capping ability. But something that I do think Thainara, at this, what she displayed in the small sample size, if she's able to replicate that from Contender Series, she should win. When McCann faces anybody with any ground competency or takedown game, she loses. And Thainara showed not only phenomenal skills on the mat her entire career, but has shown better takedown opportunities, way better striking on the feet, and better range that has allowed her to set up those takedowns and really make her a play that I do think is making the right improvements and is just has the blueprint to beat someone in McCann. Now, can her cardio hold up? Is she able to do well traveling on short notice across continents? That's the real question here, because I do think McCann is a meatball, and that's how she fights the best, is in close, dangerous shots. But I do think Thainara is a fighter you have to rely on because she has a grappling path to victory. I think she's got the volume, the range here to put up with McCann on the feet, and just the clear X factor with the ground game, the jiu-jitsu upside. Thainara, for that reason, solid play on DraftKings. Either side's probably good, and I'll probably look towards betting under here as well. Then Holland Nelson, I don't really know what to say about this fight. Striker versus grappler, two very inconsistent fighters. Sure, if I pick Holland, Nelson's going to go out there and probably cement him early, and everyone's going to be like, oh, why'd you pick Holland against a grappler? That's the truth, but I am going to pick Holland. Nelson hasn't really beat anybody not named Takashi Sato or Brian Battle in 8 years, and Kevin Holland dropping down a weight here, going to have a huge height and reach advantage here, way better striker, better cardio, and although he can be taken down on the feet, this is Kevin Holland's fight to lose. Sure, Nelson has that path. Sure, he probably should be favored because of that clear path to victory, but Holland's bigger. He's way more active. We have a known product out of him, and I do think he went to striking a big clip. No bet for me on this one, but I didn't pick Kevin Holland. On DraftKings, Nelson probably rates out a better fighter because 8.5K, tons of grappling equity. I'll probably be playing lots of him in tournament just because he's got such a clear path, but super inconsistent for both sides. I did pick Holland, though. Crazy. Then you have Blachowicz-Ulberg, another really wide line, and I get it. It's the changing of the guard. You have the younger fighter who's not coming off of surgery and who's got a ton of power, has shown good ability to make stuff from range, with good physical attributes as well. Ulberg should be the favorite here, and I did pick him to win. But the line's wide. Blachowicz is a huge step up. He's only facing the best competition out there, and he has shown a great ability to work to his level of opponent, mixing takedowns where he have to, mixing leg kicks, and really plan appropriately. And Ulberg still is a guy we haven't really seen tested too much, other than Uzumir, going out there to decision with Fabio Charant, knocking out Menefield in 10 seconds doesn't tell me anything. Big step up in competition. I do have to favor Ulberg over 3 rounds, the technicality and the optics on the outside, but I think he just outpoints him to a decision. Busting on DraftKings doesn't really bode too well. So not a fighter I want to target too much on DraftKings. I did pick him, but maybe the line's wide. We'll see how this one goes. I did pick Black Jag to get it done here in Carlos Ulberg. And then the main event, Edwards Brady, striker versus grappler again, I guess you could say. And I 100% acknowledges a world where Edwards gets back to his winning ways, is able to fend off the takedowns, manage the fight, slow the fight down, utilize that striking. But Sean Brady just landed 264 strikes, 7 takedowns, and went forward for 25 minutes against Cooper Byrne. If he's able to match that cardio, match that takedown offense, he has a blueprint here to beat Edwards, something that Bilal was able to do, so make him quit, make him force him to work here. And I do think Edwards probably doesn't always have the grit to fight the pace of Sean Brady and the grappling he's going to bring. So give me Brady to go out there, land takedowns, look to break him over the course of the stretch. But I completely understand that this is no goat whale max super lock play, and that Edwards still has viable in his own right. I did pick Brady, and because of his path, is one of my favorite play on DraftKings. Put up 160 points last time, scored very, very well. And his path to victory does rely on some grappling. But that can do it for me here on the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. Quickly underneath my quick picks, we're taking Sean Brady, Carlos Ulberg, Kevin Holland, Alexia Thainara, Jordan Vucenic, Morgan Shapiao, Chris Padilla, Loner Kavanaugh, Marcin Tybura, Christian Leroy Duncan, Shauna Bannon, Cal Lochran, and Guram Kurtaladze. On DraftKings, up top, I love me some Jordan Vucenic. Please do not understand it. I do like some Vucenic this week, as well as some Thainara with some grappling upside. In the mid-range, Sean Brady for my favorite play. Wrestling upside is there for Nelson, and it's also there for Tybura, I think, as well. Underdog-wise, Lochran, Padilla, Holland, those big three, all at the 7.9, 7.7K, all good options as well. And as a punt play down low, I think Blachowicz is upside. And if Duncan wins, it's probably by KO. Dart throw being Fernandez there. Betting-wise, nothing locked in yet, but I will 100% be playing the under in the Vucenic Duncan fight. Probably betting the under in the McCann Thainara fight, too, funny enough. maybe even sprinkling the sub on the Bandon fight, apparently. But that's going to do it for me here. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. As always, make sure to check me out on Established Run, on CoolBet, all that fun stuff, and on Twitter @GamblesGordo. Any questions or concerns, please leave in the comment section down below. I wish you all the best of luck in all your drafting and betting endeavors, guys. Let's make some money. Peace.